Throwaway BC, my husband's whole family is on Reddit, and I can't deal with more stuff right now. So I, female, 27, feel like I'm going crazy, and my husband, male, 29, is acting like I'm some kind of control freak for wanting the most basic boundary ever. My mother-in-law, let's call her Linda, has been doing surprise visits to our house for about 6 months now, and yesterday, I finally snapped. Am I the idiot for telling her she needs to text before showing up? Okay, so some background. We gave Linda an emergency key about 6 months ago when we went out of town, just in case something happened to the house or whatever. But apparently emergency means whenever I feel like dropping by, because this woman just shows up constantly. I had a roommate in college who used to take my stuff without asking, and I guess it made me weird about people just doing whatever they want in my space. I don't know why it bothers me so much, but it does. A few weeks ago, I'm getting out of the shower around 2 p.m. and I hear the front door open. Then Linda yelling, "Hello, it's me." I'm standing there naked and wet, and I'm like, what the actual hell? I grab a towel and call out that I'm in the bathroom, and she starts going on about bringing muffins and wanting to talk about farmers market plans. And then she just walks toward the bathroom while I'm in a towel, dripping wet. I kept trying to tell her I needed privacy and could we talk when I was dressed, but she just kept talking about the farmers market and some new vendor with honey for like 5 whole minutes. I finally had to tell her straight up that she needed to leave the bathroom before she walked away, like nothing weird happened. But okay, that's not even the worst part. Over the following weeks, she did this 3 more times. Tuesday, I'm on this super important work presentation call. I work from home, and boom, key in the door. She walks in talking at normal volume while I'm frantically trying to mute myself and wave at her to be quiet. I had to tell my colleagues that a repair person showed up unexpectedly. So embarrassing. Then Thursday, we're having this heated fight about our mortgage payment going up, and she just walks right into the middle of it. We're both emotional and saying personal stuff about our finances, and there's Linda with her key saying she hoped she wasn't interrupting anything important. And Saturday, she shows up at 7 a.m., 7 in the morning. We're asleep, and she turns on the lights, announcing she wants to discuss farmers market plans for that morning. My husband had to explain that people generally sleep until like 8 or 9 on weekends. So yesterday, I asked my husband, let's call him Mark, to please call his mom and ask her to text like an hour before visits. Just basic courtesy, right? He immediately starts talking about how we should plan a summer vacation, and when I said this was serious, he just said, "She means well," and asked if we should get dinner instead. I realize he's literally dodging the conversation, so I called Linda directly. Big mistake, apparently. I explained super nicely that I'd love to see her, but could she text before using the key? Just to make sure we're home and decent and not in the middle of work calls or whatever. She gets all offended and says, family shouldn't need appointments. And then, get this, she brings up my ex-boyfriend and how she never had to make appointments when he visited. My ex, who I dated in college, who was Mark's roommate. She brings him up like constantly, and it's so weird. Always about how nice he was and how he really got family values. It's been 4 years since we broke up, and she still does this. When I told Mark about this conversation, he said I'm making family feel unwelcome and that Linda is just trying to be close. He won't back me up at all, and now I feel like the crazy controlling daughter-in-law who hates family or something. Mark always changes the subject when there's any issue with his mom. His parents had this really messy divorce when he was in high school, and I don't know, maybe he just hates conflict. But it's making me feel like I can't even have normal boundaries in my own house. I mean, am I missing something here? Is asking for a text message really that unreasonable? I wouldn't just show up at someone's house unannounced, especially not at 7 a.m. or during work calls, but everyone's acting like I'm being some kind of monster. The worst part is Linda keeps making these little comments about how I don't understand family, but like, my family texts before visits. That's normal, right? We're not some cold, distant people. We just respect each other's space. I don't know. Maybe I should have just sucked it up and dealt with the surprise visits, but after the shower incident, I just can't. The thought of her walking in on me again or during another personal moment makes me want to change the locks. Don't worry, I'm not actually going to do that, probably. Am I the idiot for asking my mother-in-law to text before she shows up? Because right now, I feel like the villain in some family mess I never signed up for. Edit 1. Since people are asking, yes, we've talked about taking the key back, but Mark says that would really hurt her feelings and she'd probably cry. She apparently cried for weeks during their divorce when his dad wanted space, and Mark thinks any boundary feels like rejection to her. Edit 2. To everyone saying this is weird, thank you. I was starting to think I was losing my mind. And yes, the farmer's market thing is apparently very important to her. She's mentioned it like 47 times in the past month. No idea why. Now for the first update. Found out the real reason my mother-in-law keeps barging into my house, and it has nothing to do with boundaries. So remember my post about my mother-in-law Linda using our emergency key to show up whenever she wants? Well, turns out there's way more going on here than just her not understanding basic courtesy. And my husband Mark has been keeping secrets for months. After all your comments, I decided to try one more time to get Mark to back me up on the texting thing. Big mistake. I brought it up again the next evening while we were making dinner, and immediately he starts going on about this new project at work, like detailed stuff about spreadsheets and deadlines. I'm like, okay, that's nice, but can we talk about your mom? And he literally starts talking about how we should change the oil in my car. I knew he always did this when his mom came up, but this time I decided to really pay attention to the pattern. So I tested it. Every time I brought up anything about his mom, the key thing, the surprise visits, asking for basic boundaries, he'd immediately pivot to something totally random. Work stuff, car maintenance, whether we need new light bulbs, if I've seen his phone charger, literally anything except his mother. After like the 5th time, I was like, Mark, what the hell? Why won't you talk about your mom? He got all defensive and said I was making a big deal out of nothing, but wouldn't explain why he keeps changing the subject every single time. I asked him directly if there was something going on with Linda that he wasn't telling me, and he just clammed up. Started doing dishes really aggressively and mumbling about how some things are private family matters. Private family matters. I'm family. Or at least I thought I was. So I was frustrated and confused and honestly feeling a little crazy. So I called my sister-in-law Amy just to vent. Amy's always been really sweet, and she went through the whole new daughter-in-law thing with Linda too, so I figured she'd get it. We're just talking about regular stuff, work, the weather, family plans, and somehow we get on the topic of Linda's surprise visits. I'm explaining how annoying it is, and Amy's like, yeah, she's been acting kind of weird lately anyway. When I asked what she meant, she said Linda's been asking her all these weird financial questions about whether Mark and I seem to be doing well with money. I was like, what do you mean financial question? And Amy starts giving me examples. Apparently, Linda saw pictures on my Instagram of our new couch, which we got on sale at IKEA, nothing fancy, and spent like 20 minutes asking Amy detailed questions about how much furniture like that costs and whether we seem like we're doing well financially. She's been asking about our weekend trips too, like specific questions about hotel prices and restaurant costs based on photos we post. Amy said it felt like Linda was trying to figure out exactly how much money we have, which is really weird. I mean, why would she need to know that unless, oh God, I think I know where this is going. I pressed Amy for more details, and she got kind of uncomfortable, but eventually admitted that Linda's been struggling with some big dental bills. Her insurance apparently doesn't cover whatever procedure she needs, and it's been stressing her out. Amy said it's something like $4,000, which is a lot when you're living on retirement income. Before we hung up, Amy made me promise not to tell Linda she'd said anything about the money situation because apparently family financial problems are supposed to stay private. But I knew I had to talk to Mark immediately. Everything suddenly made sense. The surprise visits weren't just boundary issues. Linda was like investigating our financial situation, seeing what we had, how we lived, checking out our stuff. I felt sick thinking about it. I called Mark immediately and asked him straight up if he knew about his mom's money problems. The silence on the phone was so long I thought the call dropped. Finally, he admits he's known about the dental thing for 3 months, but promised Linda he wouldn't tell anyone because she's embarrassed about needing help. 3 months. He's been keeping this secret for 3 months, while I'm going crazy thinking his mom just doesn't respect boundaries, when really, she's been, scouting our house to see if we have money to help her. I don't even know how to feel about this. Mark explained that Linda doesn't want to be a burden and keeps saying things like, family shouldn't have to take care of family problems, which makes zero sense because isn't that exactly what family is for? But apparently she's too proud to just ask for help, so instead she's been doing these weird visits to our house. I'm not even mad about the money thing. Like, if she needs help with dental bills, we could probably figure something out. But the sneaking around and the secret keeping and Mark lying to me for months, I feel like everyone's been treating me like I'm not really part of this family. The worst part is now I'm second-guessing every single visit. Was she really bringing muffins, or was she checking to see if we bought anything new? When she walked in on our mortgage fight, was she actually interested in our financial stress? The 7 a.m. farmers market visit, was that about farmers markets at all? I keep thinking about all those comments about my ex-boyfriend and family values. Maybe this was never about respect or boundaries. Maybe Linda needed to see what kind of people we were before asking for help. God, I feel like such an idiot. And Mark, I don't even know what to think about Mark. He's been watching me get upset about boundaries and invasion of privacy when he knew there was more going on. He let me think I was being unreasonable when he knew his mom was dealing with money problems. I don't know if I'm more hurt about the secret keeping, or confused about the whole situation, or just tired of feeling like I'm always the last to know what's actually happening in this family. Amy made me promise not to tell Linda she said anything, because apparently there's this whole thing where family money problems are supposed to stay private even within the family, which seems really unhealthy, but whatever. I guess I'm learning all sorts of things about how this family works. Anyway, that's the update. Still processing all of this honestly. Edit. Since people are asking about the dental work, Amy said it's something Linda needs, but her retirement insurance is basically useless for anything beyond basic cleanings. She's been putting it off for months because of the cost, but apparently it's getting painful now. For those wondering why Mark kept this secret, he said Linda made him promise because she didn't want me to feel obligated to help since I'm not blood family, which honestly hurt worse than the secret itself. Like, what does that even mean? I've been married to her son for 2 years. To answer the questions about whether we would have helped, yes, absolutely. We're not rich, but we have some savings, and Linda has been nothing but kind to me, boundary issues aside. The whole sneaking around thing just makes it so much weirder than it needed to be. And no, I haven't confronted Linda yet. Still trying to figure out how to handle this without throwing Amy under the bus, since she specifically asked me not to mention where I heard about the money stuff. This family and their secrets, honestly. Now for the second update. Well, it happened. I offered to help Linda with her dental bills and wow, just wow. So after my last post about finding out the real reason behind all the surprise visits, I spent like 3 days thinking about everything. Reading all your comments, thank you, seriously, and just processing. I kept going back and forth between feeling bad for Linda struggling with money and feeling hurt that Mark kept this secret for months. But honestly, family is family, right? And if she needed help with dental work, we could probably figure something out. We're not rich, but we have some savings, and it's not like she was asking for a house down payment or anything. So yesterday I decided to just call her directly, cut through all the weird family stuff, and just be honest about wanting to help. I called around noon and started with normal stuff. How's the weather? Did she see the farmer's market vendor she liked? Just regular conversation. Then I told her I knew this might be awkward, but I heard she'd been dealing with some dental expenses, and if she needed any help, we'd love to figure something out together. The silence was so long, I thought she hung up. Then she just exploded, like completely lost it. She told me she didn't need charity from someone who doesn't understand family values. Those were her exact words, because they're burned into my brain now. The way she said it too. Not like she was grateful but embarrassed, but like I'd personally insulted her by offering. I was so confused and asked what she meant by that. She immediately started backtracking, saying she was just stressed about the bills and didn't mean anything by it. But the damage was done, Like you can't just throw out someone who doesn't understand family values and then pretend it was stress talking. I kept pushing, because honestly, what the hell does that even mean? When I asked what she meant about family values, she got all flustered and said she just meant families handle things differently and that she should probably go make lunch now. Then she hung up on me. Left me sitting there holding my phone like, did that really just happen? I was so hurt and confused because what family values was she talking about? We've been together 3 years, married for 2, and I thought we had a good relationship. Sure, the boundary thing was annoying, but I never thought she fundamentally didn't approve of me or something. So I called my brother-in-law, Mark's brother, let's call him Dave, because I needed someone to explain what just happened. Maybe Linda had said something to him about why offering help would be inappropriate or whatever. Dave's always been pretty straight with me, So I asked if Linda had ever said anything about me not understanding family values, and he immediately got all uncomfortable. Started talking about how Linda's been stressed lately and probably didn't mean anything personal. But I wasn't letting this go. Not after that phone call. I told him this felt really specific, like she'd been thinking about this for a while, and asked if she'd said something about me before. More hemming and hawing about stress and bills and how everyone's just worried about her. Finally, I told him I wasn't going to tell anyone where I heard this, but I really needed to know if Linda had been talking about me behind my back, because that phone call was not normal. And after like 10 minutes of me promising not to say anything and swearing, I just needed to understand what happened, he finally admitted that, yeah, Linda has made some comments. She's been telling family members that I'm not family material. Not family material. Like I'm applying for a job or something. When I asked what that meant, Dave got even more uncomfortable, but eventually explained that Linda has been testing me. All those surprise visits. They weren't just boundary issues or even financial scouting. They were tests to see how I handle unexpected family interactions. She's been keeping mental notes about whether I'm hospitable enough, whether the house is clean enough, whether I react appropriately to family showing up unannounced. I felt like I was going to throw up. All those times I was annoyed about her barging in. She was literally evaluating me, like some kind of audition for being worthy of her son. Dave said she keeps track of stuff like whether I offer drinks immediately when she shows up, whether I seem happy to see her, or just polite, how I handle interruptions to my work or personal time. The surprise visits with the key over the past 6 months were like the advanced level of testing. The bathroom incident where she wouldn't leave while I was in a towel. She was apparently concerned about my comfort level with family intimacy. But wait, it gets worse. Because I kept asking questions, and Dave eventually admitted that this isn't just about me. Linda learned this from her mother-in-law, who put her through the same thing for years before deciding she was family material. And now Linda thinks this is just how you determine if someone belongs in the family. The worst part, everyone knows. Dave's wife went through the same evaluation process. Amy went through it. They all just accept that this is how Linda operates, and nobody thought to warn me, because apparently, if you can't figure it out naturally, then you don't belong anyway. I've been getting tested for 2 years and didn't even know it, like some kind of secret family hazing ritual. And Mark knew. He's known this whole time that his mother was evaluating me and never said a word. Just let me think I was going crazy about boundaries, while his mom was literally scoring my performance as a potential family member. I hung up with Dave and just sat there feeling sick. Everything made sense now. The weird comments about my ex-boyfriend, the constant mentions of family values, the way she'd watch me during visits like she was taking notes, because she was taking notes. But then I started getting mad, like really mad, because this is insane and everyone just goes along with it like it's normal. So I did something probably petty, but honestly, I don't care anymore. I looked up how much cosmetic dental veneers cost, and then I called Linda back. I was so sweet. I told her I'd been thinking about our conversation and felt terrible that I made her uncomfortable. I said I really wanted to help with her dental work, so I had this idea. What if I set up a GoFundMe for her? That way it's not just us helping, it's the whole family and our friends too. I could share it with everyone we know, and I bet we could raise the money really quickly. The panic in her voice was immediate. She said that wasn't necessary, and maybe the dental work wasn't as urgent as she thought. But I kept going, saying I already started drafting the GoFundMe page, and I thought it was going to work great. I'd share it with all our family and friends, maybe post it on social media too. Everyone loves helping family with medical expenses. She started making all these excuses about how maybe she didn't need the work done after all. Maybe she could wait. Maybe there were other options. And I'm just being super sweet and helpful saying, but I thought this was causing her pain, and she'd been so worried about the cost. This way everyone can chip in, and she doesn't have to stress about money at all. Then she started saying she had to go but would call me back, but I could tell she was panicking, because now she's trapped, right? Either she accepts help raising money for cosmetic dental work from someone she's spent 2 years deciding isn't family material, or she has to explain to everyone why she won't accept perfectly reasonable help from her loving daughter-in-law. And apparently word got around fast because Mark started getting calls from her like an hour later. He came home looking all stressed, asking what I said to his mom because she was freaking out about some GoFundMe thing. So I explained very calmly that I'd offered to help raise money for her dental work, and she seemed upset about it. So maybe he should call her and find out why she wouldn't want help from family. Now she's calling him constantly, alternating between begging him to make me stop offering help and trying to explain why accepting the help would be inappropriate without actually admitting to the whole evaluation system. And other family members are starting to ask questions about why Linda won't accept help and what's really going on. Dave texted me this morning saying his mom called asking why Linda was acting so weird about dental work and whether there was some kind of family stuff happening. Linda's been calling everyone trying to explain why she doesn't want help anymore, but she can't give a real reason without admitting she thinks I'm not worthy of being generous to her. I know this is probably petty revenge, but honestly, I'm tired of being the only one who doesn't know what's really happening in this family. And if Linda wants to evaluate whether I'm family material, then she can deal with the consequences of treating me like I'm not good enough to help when she needs it. Mark keeps saying I should just drop the GoFundMe idea because it's making his mom uncomfortable, but why? If she really needs dental work and we're really family, why would helping be uncomfortable? I think I'm done pretending this family's weird testing system is normal. If they want to evaluate me for 2 years in secret, they can deal with me acting like the family member I thought I already was. Anyway, that's where things stand. Linda's still calling Mark freaking out. The rest of the family is asking questions, and I'm just here being aggressively helpful and family-oriented. Sometimes the best way to handle passive-aggressive stuff is just aggressive kindness, you know?